What's up, everybody? On today's episode of the Hashtag Blackout Podcast, we talk about haters. Yeah, the first in a two-part series. Haters. What kind of people are they? What kind of energy do they bring to your life? What kind of energy do you bring to their life? What is a hater? Why you should and shouldn't care. On today's episode of the Hashtag Blackout Podcast. Pew, 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 pew. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 130, the Hashtag Blackout Podcast. I'm Jared.
What's up, people? I'm Jay.
And we are back at it again. Man, what's up, cousin? How you doing over there, Jay?
Good, man. Just relaxing, hanging out for my next, or just chilling for the next couple weeks before the kids get back home. So, trying to take it all in, do as much as I can with my wife that we can't do with the kids.
Yeah.
Go eat places we like to eat, do things we like to do without dealing with kids.
I bet, man.
So, yeah, that's about it. How about you? I know you just came off of a vacation. How was that vacation?
Yeah, man. Vacation was good. We actually went to Yellowstone National Park and Jackson Hole. So, Yellowstone National Park is about 4.5, 5 hours away from where I live. And Jackson Hole is about the same distance, I guess driving wise. So for a while we've been telling our kids we'd take them like on a camping trip, RV trip, something like that. So we're like, all right, we're finally going to do this. So we rented a trailer, one of those travel trailers that could basically turn into a mini house. Loaded it all in, towed it up there, and we went to West Yellowstone, Montana. So let's just say this, man. There's not a lot in West Yellowstone, Montana. I think I did the math, and you could fit, 300, I can't remember, 366, or maybe it's more than that, West Yellowstone, Montana's into the city of Houston. It's crazy. That's how big. I mean, obviously, small towns, from where our grandparents were in Louisiana, Washington. I mean, it's just like that, man. It's just a few blocks, a couple of lights. And then, next thing you know, you're out of the town. But it's a cool little town. It's a historic town, obviously being a part of the Yellowstone National Park history and lore. A lot of cool things there. Some pretty good places to eat. One place we ate is called Bullwinkle's. They had better drinks than food. Nice. They had better drinks than food, but it was a fun, restaurant. It had, all kinds of kitsch. It had, one of these old timey trains that was rolling around the ceiling. Pass by your table every now and then. It was interesting and a lot of fun little spots up there. And then, of course, the park, Yellowstone National Park, where you see Old Faithful, the geyser. That's like the main attraction. And then those prismatic springs, it looks like a big, bubbling hot pot of water in the ground. But, there are all these beautiful colors, blue, orange, red, and geysers. It's pretty amazing up there. There's some stuff we didn't get to see. So, that's all the more reason to go back again. But the kids had a great time. We had a great time. We saw a lot of bison. We saw some elk and moose. We didn't see any bears, surprisingly, because apparently that's big time bear country, but we didn't see the bears. And then back down to Jackson Hole for one night. And man, I tell you what, man, Jackson Hole, it's a pretty little town, sort of expensive, it's sort of like the Austin of Montana, if you will, because, Austin's a place that has a lot of good food, some good music, has obviously sort of like some country western history to it. And it's sort of a different town. And Jackson Hole, but by no means is the size of Austin. It's a pretty little town, like right in the middle of the Grand Teton Mountain area. And yeah, so we had one good night there. So we're going to go back there because it was a cool spot. And like I said, it's fairly close. So we'll check that out. The other thing was, it's funny because we were driving down. So we came out the south. There's 4 entrances to Yellowstone National Park, right? The thing is huge. It spans over basically 3 states, Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. And so there's 4 entrances, north, south, east, and west. And we drove through the west entrance because we were staying in West Yellowstone, went out the south entrance, and drove down through northern Wyoming toward Jackson Hole. And we passed the Grand Teton Mountains. And if you remember Kanye's last album, he had, mountain range in the background, and it was that mountain range. So it was funny because I was driving by, I was like, oh, it's Kanye's album. Kanye was right here when he did the album. When he did the album cover, and then that, and he flew everybody into town to do sort of like the launch party, release party. So it was pretty cool to sort of see that and make that connection. But then again, seeing that mountain range, it's one of the world famous mountain ranges, if you will. If you like to ski or hike or anything like that or climb. I don't do any skiing or climbing or whatever, but, I think it's, beautiful. And seeing it is sort of, to me, like when I saw the Statue of Liberty, or when, I saw, when I saw like the Sears Tower in Chicago, or when I, go to Disney World. It's like all the stuff that you see on TV or you see in pictures, and you finally get to see it for the first time. It was pretty cool to see that, even though, it's a bit of a drive out of town to get up to those mountains. It's still really nice. So, yeah, man, a good long trip on the road. Got back this week and back for some fun. So, while I was on the road, and even before got on the road, I was thinking about different random topics. And yeah, man, one of the topics I wanted to talk about was haters, man, because everybody has a hater in their life in some way.
And everybody can be a hater to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. So obviously I want to do the topic, and then I was like, might as well make it like a 2-part series, make it haters, and then make it appreciators or congratulators or lovers or supporters, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Because haters going to hate, lovers want to love. But as R. Kelly says, I don't even want none of the above. I want to piss on you. Or was that Dave Chappelle?
That's right. I think that was
R. Kelly, for sure. So, yeah, man. So that's sort of where, my mindset for the topic came from. Like, what is a hater? And yeah, man, I wanted to get into it. But before we do that, we have voicemails. We have a couple voicemails this week, and they're from our favorite Memphis correspondent. Always happy to hear from Miss Kayla Stevenson. So before we do that, Jay, hey, why don't you go ahead and tell the people how they could drop a voicemail to us, where they could do that.
All right, people, 385-3BLAKPC. That's 385-325-2572. Give us a call. And if you did not respond to our Instagram post about what a hater is, or what you think the hater is, go ahead and call us and let us know. It doesn't matter if it's a future episode. Just call us and let us know.
That is correct. We shall play it. Just like we're going to play these 2 messages. Let's see, here we go. First one up. 3, 2, 1.
Yo, this is Memphis Diva 99, a.k.a. your cousin Taylor from Memphis. Look, man, Memphis has... First of all, y'all probably been wondering, where am I? I'm here. Just life issues like work, sick parents. My dad has been diagnosed with Parkinson's, and he's having a hard time adjusting to not being able to drive his little Toyota Camry. So we're dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of stressing. But happy Father's Day, y'all. But so Memphis made the news. Supposedly some U.S. Marshals came, arrested somebody, shot him maybe 20 times. But the young man had a long little rap sheet, okay? So that area of Memphis decided to protest, and they end up injuring 25 officers. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're destroying your own neighborhood because your homeboy stole a car and shot somebody. And, yeah, okay. What y'all think about that? What do you think about protesting and destroying your own neighborhood? I mean, I don't know the whole full story, but that's just the story I read. And I'm going to talk to you guys later again. Happy Father's Day. Peace out.
Wow. That's crazy.
Well, appreciate the Father's
you.
Day wishes.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that, Kayla. Well wishes in trying to help your dad, through his Parkinson's disease situation. It's not fun. My grandfather had that, and I know, both of our, I know the grandparent that Jay and I share, grandfather, he didn't have Parkinson's, but I know he got up in age and he was still trying to drive and driving pretty well. But at some point, it was like time for him to not do that anymore just because, crazy drivers out there, he, getting into sort of accidents or driving too fast or whatever. So yeah, man, it's not easy.
Yeah, definitely not easy at that age, but
yeah. But did you hear about this Memphis shooting, man?
No, I didn't. I did not hear about the Memphis shooting at all. So
yeah. So let's see here.
No, I was saying as far as like her question about what do we think about people destroying their own neighborhoods. That's something I never did quite understand. Mm-hmm. When people start like rioting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's within the community that they live and they shop and they do day-to-day business in, and a lot of times they end up destroying it. Something I never understood, whether it be destroying shops of other people moving into the neighborhood to try and gain some type of capital. Like a lot of times you'll see like a Asian store or something move into a black neighborhood. It's stuff you see in the news, you see in movies and things like that. So I can't say I have firsthand experience living in a neighborhood that has experienced a riot type situation. So I can't fully 100% speak on it, but just seeing stuff, it always brought a question into my head as to why would you do that in your own neighborhood? So I don't know the answer. I don't know. It's just always boggled me. So
yeah. It is sort of troublesome for that to happen within your own city, but and within your own area. And I know Sir John Lee, the song that he put out called "The City." I guess the video imagery and photo imagery he had. Was a lot of, the riots that happened out in LA. So, seeing stuff like that, same here. That never happened in my city, in my town, in my neighborhood. But, it's one of those things that I don't know, man. It's like, the people feel the angst, they feel the energy, they feel the hatred toward, whatever, quote unquote, the man is. And I don't know. It's weird because, in a situation like that, they're probably trying to take out all of their energy and frustration and anger on the police. They happen to be on the streets in their town. Maybe maybe there's a store owner or something like that that's like, locking up their business, trying to batten down the hatches. Somebody sees it, goes in, gets something, and or tries to break a window because, this store owner's not out there supporting. Or maybe it's just one of those things, they're just like, we're going to burn this whole place down, till we get what we want. And we're going to, do it, take it out on whatever we can. And yeah, it's crazy if you're tearing up your own stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because it's the people that you buy stuff from, the people that are actually putting money into the community. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's wild to me. Let's see here. So, Let's see here. So basically, what happened was, real quickly, looks like what is it? It said Thursday, so Wednesday night. So what day was this that this happened? The 13th. So maybe this was like the 12th or 13th of June. 36 Memphis Police Department officers and sheriff's deputies were injured during a large protest Wednesday night, the police department said Thursday. The violence erupted after officers from the U.S. Marshals shot and killed Brandon Weber, 20-year-old guy. So it happened around 7 p.m. that night. Let's see. It looks like Weber was wanted on multiple felony warrants. When they tried to stop him, he rammed his vehicle into the officer's vehicle multiple times before exiting with a weapon after he got out of his car. Officers fired, striking and killing the individual. So residents began to gather in the street looking for answers. Local reporters, saw it as well. I guess after the county commissioner identified who it was who got killed, so Shelby County Commissioner Tammy Sawyer, first identified the slain man. She also said the local community has a reason to distrust the police. So in this situation, I mean, you have somebody from the top, somebody who's an elected official saying, hey, these cops are dirty, right? So let's see here. Let me read the first of these tweets. Don't judge Frazier without asking a community how it feels to mourn their youth over and over again. What do people do with their pain and trauma when it gets to be too much, when a city has ignored them, when their loss is too great and they can no longer yell at the sky? I was in Frazier tonight because Brandon Weber, this is from Tammy Sawyer, that commissioner. I was in Frazier tonight because Brandon Weber was stopped 16 to 20 times. 16 to 20 times. You have one guy, multiple law enforcement, members there, and you shoot the man 16 to 20 times. I can see multiple shots, like 3 or 4 if you're trying to take the man down, but 16 to 20 times. So he shot 16 to 20 times in his family's front yard on the same day as the Pulse nightclub shooting anniversary and on the same day that the DA chose not to charge another police officer for murdering a civilian. Wow. So, let's see here. So, agency as they continue to do it internal. So of course, the U.S. Marshals are going to do an internal review about the situation. But that statement from her, sort of leads you to believe, or leads you to question, what is the main objective of law enforcement if they are not going to charge a police officer for murdering a civilian, which, right. It's not like they were murdering a person that, actually was like pointing a gun at them. It was murdering a civilian. Right. But it sounds like that community has been, has had a lot of angst and issues with law enforcement for quite some time. And she said, what can you do when you can no longer yell at the sky? So they take it to the streets. But it seemed like a lot of people started, let's see here. The residents gathered on the street near where the shooting occurred. Police formed a human wall, which is always not a good idea because it's about to go down. Then officers repeatedly ordered people off the streets. Within hours, however, violence broke out and the police deployed riot shields. The situation escalated as people in the crowd began throwing rocks and bricks at officers, according to Memphis police. Around 10 o'clock local time, police began using tear gas against the protesters. Somebody saw 2 guys smash a police car with a chair. 6 wounded officers were taken to the hospital, and at least 2 journalists were hurt. Multiple police cars were vandalized. A concrete wall outside a business was torn down. The windows were broken out at Fire Station 31. Yeah. So there you go. So it's interesting, I guess, because these people obviously are mad for the situation. When you're a person on the street, you probably don't see the difference between a U.S. Marshal and a police officer. You know what I'm saying? You just know that they killed this guy. But the county commissioner coming out with her words, with her statement, talking about that this part of the city has been ignored. They've had a lot of loss, a lot of anger. What can they do? Especially since this guy was shot 16 times, yeah, it's wild. But maybe it's one of those things, man. Maybe it's like grab what you can and throw it. You know what I'm saying? Pretty interesting, man. And that's why, Kayla, hopefully you stay away from that situation, and hopefully you don't live in that area where you have to deal with that stuff. And hopefully the police come up with some answers, to whatever's hurting that neighborhood. So want to hear it. So here we go. Next up.
Hey, y'all. This is Memphis Diva 99, your Memphis correspondent. What's going on with y'all? Well, see, I was looking at the news, something I seldom do anymore. And they said that so far in Memphis, we've had 87 homicides. And wouldn't you believe we're down 16% than last year? Yeah, it just, I don't know. It's crazy. It really is. Kind of sad, really. Yeah, pretty bad. So, just thought it was interesting. I'm at work, and I was just having one of my thoughts, Nothing's interesting going on. Well, it is, but I'll say that for another time. So, what y'all guess for 2019? Isn't that sad? They have statistics about stuff like that. They need to do more good statistics, though. Oh, well, I guess I'll get back to work. My break is over with. Peace out, y'all.
Wow.
Yes, indeed. She says homicide is down in the city.
Yeah, down 16% in the last year.
That's crazy, because crazy thing is homicide has been up around here for the past, I don't know, month or two. Seems like every week somebody's getting shot, drive by, or this, that, and the third, man. And I was listening to the news, and I forgot. I think it was like Thursday or Friday, and they were like trying to see how they worded it, but it was like just so jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying, well, in not good news, but bad news, we got another homicide. Damn, but it wasn't like that.
Oh, the news, yeah.
It made it sound like it was good as a statistic, but bad. I mean, obviously, murder and homicide is bad, but the way they worded it, I just had to stop, like ironing my clothes and getting ready for work,
and just pay attention, right?
I just had to shake my head because, it was like it's been 3 days since our last homicide, so. It was just very funny how they worded that particular thing, but yeah, homicide has been up here, so it's gonna be a hot summer. Tell you that.
That's crazy, man. I know that the crime rate is sort of it's crazy. I know the crime rate is probably sort of steady here, but what's crazy is, the sensationalism of crimes, of these crimes. You know what I'm saying? Of people, being murdered or hit and run or police involved shootings, et cetera, et cetera. The news media says that they don't they always sort of, try to make the story, it seems like, make the story like a sad story, or, say, hey, this is, terrible that this is happening. Mm-hmm. But then again, they want those things because that's what feeds their ego. You know what I'm saying? That's what feeds their stories. That's what, basically draws up their news every night. So you can always tell if you watch the news one day and you see, and it's just like the most boring program, like just the most boring episode of the news you've ever seen, that there's not a lot of stuff going on. And they want this, they want these things to happen so they can have something to talk about, so they can have more stories, so they can have more filler for the news instead of talking about, feel good stories. The times where you see a couple of feel good stories on an episode of the news is the time where they don't have enough bad stuff to talk about, and it's highly unfortunate. Thankfully, now our president gives them enough stuff to talk about, but and also that sucks. But they have that, but then they also obviously want stuff that's going on in the community, and it's terrible when that happens, man, and it's terrible that they make it sound like just another thing, instead of another horrible thing that just happened. I don't know, man. I think that's one of the things that sort of disenfranchised me from wanting to be a reporter back in the day. When I was, graduating college, that was my degree. And, at that time, that was my only lane in to be some kind of reporter that was just going to be a beat writer and report on things like that. And I was not feeling it. And also at the time, I didn't have the forethought and mentality about, doing other things within that industry. Like that's sort of all I had been taught and learned and my focus was on. And so I didn't think about, changing that up. But, yeah, man, it's rough to hear that. It's rough to hear that. I guess thankfully the homicide is down, in Memphis. And hopefully it goes everywhere. Down. So yeah, hopefully it'll be down everywhere. But that's unfortunate, man. It's crazy time. It's crazy we got to hear about stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see here. So thank you, Memphis Diva. We definitely appreciate all of your voicemails, staying up with us, especially while we're on our quote unquote hiatus, staying up with the times and dropping us lines to make sure we were still, around and listening to you and knowing what's going on down in Memphis. So yeah, we appreciate that. We look forward to more from you and everybody else. So what was that? Okay, my bad. What is a hater? I got you. What is a hater? A hater. So the dictionary, like the actual real dictionary,
Webster's dictionary.
Yeah,
the
Webster's.
One people don't use anymore.
Yeah, dictionary.com, whatever you want to call it. Let's see here. They define the term hater as a person who hates. One who hates or loathes. A person who hates everything. Someone who hates and would persecute someone, etc. That is a hater, according to the Webster's Dictionary. If you go on, just like Google Dictionary, dictionary.com, hater is a noun, a person who greatly dislikes a specified person or thing, a negative or critical person.
Latin origin.
Yeah, here we go. The word originates from 1999 Will Smith's Getting Jiggy With It. Now, I think it actually did come from that song, but I guess in the current lexicon. But yeah, no, seriously, let's see here. I guess it goes as far back as like the 1600s, 1800s, something like that. I mean, to be honest, dude, like for really real.
Yeah, I hear you. Just hearing Shakespeare write about haters.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
He hated on me.
Like I'm serious, man. It is what it is. Let's see here. Here we go. So here we go. Let me pull this part up here. A person who has an intense dislike for another person or thing. Often used in combination. I'm a big hater of opera. Are you a dog hater? There you go. Number 2, informal. A person who thrives on showing hate towards criticizing or belittling other people or things, usually unfairly. This guy is just a hater looking for a fight. So, so there's a couple of definitions. You can also say doubter, egoist, skeptic, loner, somebody like that. Oh no, it says it comes from the Middle Ages, 1350 to 400. So that's when it sort of originated, which is just straight up wild. So Urban Dictionary's definition. Okay, Urban Dictionary's definition of hater is there's a couple things, and I like Urban Dictionary's definition in this case. A person that simply cannot be happy for another person's success. So rather than be happy, they make a point of exposing a flaw in that person. See, that sounds like the more current version of hater. Right. Hating, the result of being a hater is not exactly jealousy. The hater doesn't really want to be the person he or she hates. Rather, the person wants to knock someone else down a notch. And here we go. This is what Susan would say. Kevin from accounting is doing very well. He just bought a house in a very nice part of town. That's one of those undercover hate. I'm saying Jane is also a hater. If he's doing so well, why does he drive that 89 Taurus?
Well, Susan's not the hater. Jane's the hater.
Okay, yeah, you're right. My bad. But Susan could be the hater, depending on her tone of voice, I guess. But yeah, Jane in that situation is the hater. Here we go. Here we go. So, a term used to deflect criticism and erect a mental dissonance that allows one to ignore further criticism and continued delusion of one's own competence, skill, or talent. So if you're talking about somebody who likes to sing, person 1, you're not a good singer. Person 2, nah, I want to believe that I'm good. Therefore, you're just a jealous hater and your opinion is worthless. Dang. So yeah, man, haters. What is a hater? Who are haters? That's sort of what we want to talk about. I want to get into. There's obviously tons of definitions you can go through over and over again. But yeah, we put that out there on Instagram to find out, people's definition of a hater. Are you a hater? What is your personal definition of a hater? And yeah, we got some pretty good responses. So, Jay, you want to read those?
Of course. All right. What is a hater? What is your definition of a hater? Hooks, Rubs, and Spices says a hater is someone who lives to disagree with you or dish your creation. Brittany D. Byer says people get mad when you are doing better than them. J&T Podcast. Shout out to the brothers. We are haters, but really, a prime example for a hater is someone who goes out of their way to stifle you or tries to bring you down constantly so they can feel better about themselves. Oh, and grammar Nazis.
Yes.
Smooth cosplayer. Someone who is excessively and needlessly negative towards you or your work. Definitely not to be confused with someone who just doesn't like what you're doing. Whatever Man Pod, shout out to them. Motherfuckers, they always talking about what they would do if, quotes. But they ass never do anything and be the first one to talk shit if you fail when you try to do something. God forbid if you try and succeed, they always try and diminish what you did. Quotes, you got lucky, you had health, or you were dick riding and got put on. Fuck. Wait. And got put on. Fuck. And I sincerely mean this. In parentheses. Them bitch ass niggas. And of course he talks about the Cowboys fans being the worst ones. I see that star and instantly know they a hating ass motherfucker.
This is true. All Cowboys fans.
Yes. J. Del Negro, the definition of a hater. Well, that would be me. It's very honest in this post. I be hating like a mom. I be hating like a mom. I like how you spell that.
Mom. That's funny.
But I do it in the best way possible. You see, I act as a conduit for the hate of others. Let your hate use me. Hallelujah. If his girl is flyer than yours, fuck that clown. Fuck that ass clown. Plus, she got big ass feet. No worries, I will hate on your bitch asses for you. How did he get an I-8 coupe working part-time at Bojangles? Listen, I don't know, but what I do know is I hope he gets a flat and a spider's nest is under his thermostat, because fuck that nigga. Give me your judgment. Give me your shame, and I will quote, is this nigga on a horse? In my best Stephen from Django voice, to the heavens above, saying, I don't like that shit. I don't like it one bit. All right. Honesty is the best policy. I'm glad he's honest.
Yes, I love it.
I'm just Jackie says, anyone who plants seeds to assassinate your character so others will prejudge you. In addition, J. Del Negro follows up, Cambridge and Merriam-Webster's definition may be found under Clarence Thomas's bitch ass. And there you go.
There you go. And then
all around.
Then we posted on our stories, and the Starting Five podcast said a hater is a negative asshole. So there you go, man. Lots of great comments. Thank you guys for that. Much appreciated. Yeah, lots of likes on that topic as well. It's interesting, man. So, you know, obviously after reading all those, what about you, man? What do you think? What's a hater? What do you think about that?
Pretty much all those things they said. It's all stemming from the same thing. It could be in all different forms. Somebody who always has a sly remark to say about something that you do or trying to do. Could be the whole crabs in a barrel mentality, you know, somebody trying to pull you down from achieving a certain goal. You know, it's a bunch of different things that hate could be defined as. It could be giving your opinion, whether it be something negative on something that hadn't even happened yet, you know. So yeah, it could be a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, man, I think that's true. It's you know, I think that everybody has a little bit of hater in them. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a little bit of hater in them, depending on the situation or what's going on. Not everybody's not going to support everything that they see, right? You know, I know that's true. So I could probably say that we're all haters to some extent, depending on the situation. And yeah, like I said earlier, you know, this term, I think first sort of hit like hit and landed into our slang back when Will Smith had Getting Jiggy With It. And he said he has no love for the haters. The haters mad because he got floor seats at the Lakers. You know, and that's sort of like the jealousy. You know what I'm saying?
I want to feel like I heard that before that, though.
Yeah,
but anyway,
have.
Keep on going.
You may have. I think maybe because Will Smith's song was so big. You know what I'm saying? It sort of crossed so many cultures that I think that's when it actually, you know, transcended just, you know, hearing it in other places. So right. Either way, you know, yeah, that's probably one of the first times I really like wrapped my head around. I was like, oh yeah. And maybe, you know, that's more of like the jealousy part of hate. You know, I mean, there's multiple types of haters. There's multiple types of hating. You know, you can be like J. Del Negro and, you know, look over and say, is that nigga on a horse? You know what I'm saying? I don't like that shit at all. You know, or say that same thing just like Susan and Jade did earlier, saying, you know, how he gonna drive? How you gonna live in that nice house but still drive a Taurus? You know what I'm saying? But then again, in this day and age, you see a lot of hate on social media. And it's just like the Smooth Cosplayer said, somebody who excessively and needlessly is negative toward you or your work. So, I see this a lot, I guess, with cosplayers, with artists who paint, who do pictures, who do digital artwork, and they'll post it, they'll post it on Instagram, they'll post it on Twitter, or, their website, YouTube, whatever. And, while you have, 100, positive comments, you got another, stack of people said, "Oh, that's ugly," or "Why did you do this?"
Yeah.
Or, it looks like trash, or your stitch is wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, social media is a cesspool of just hateful things, man. You could go on.
It is.
You could go on. Just let's say, for instance, those young kids that got all those scholarships, all that scholarship money, and then let's say CNN posted up on like Facebook, for example, or wherever they posted up, and you go to the comments section, you get a lot of positives. But then you start getting these little hateful comments, these little sly comments that start trickling in, like, "Oh, they don't need that. They don't. Who needs that much scholarship money, or this, that, and the third?" So social media could definitely be, or it is, one big playground for hateful people. Especially since they're behind the screen and nobody could see them face to face. So you could talk all the stuff you want to talk on social media. You could try to be funny. I know sometimes I try to be funny on like Twitter or whatever. If I see something going on with some different celebrity, I don't know if I consider myself. I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody else would probably consider it hateful, but I wouldn't say anything like a hateful comment. It'll just be something funny.
Yeah.
That I think is funny, which is, and that's kind of one reason why whenever we were doing the mic checks, I didn't want to say if something was garbage or not. I'd much rather give creative criticism rather than say that shit's trash, throw it in the garbage, don't play it no more.
Yeah. And I think there's a difference, between. There's a line between making a funny comment or comedy and hate. Even though depending on the type of comedy, obviously it could be some hatred in there. But I think I think there's a line between what's actually should be defined as hating compared to what if you're just making a funny joke
and who's reading it, or they could perceive it as something else,
but they could perceive it differently.
Just like something that's being read versus actually hearing it. Somebody could read it one way, determine it doesn't have a great tone to it or a positive tone to it, and somebody could read it and say, "Oh, it's pretty cool." So
man, and that thing comes up a lot in work situations. You read somebody's email, and I mean, shoot, this happened to me, but like you read the person's email and you're like your immediate reaction is you're pissed off. You're ready to run up on this person and read them the riot act. You know what I'm saying? And try to figure out what their problem is. But then, when you go and confront the person and say, "Hey, what was the deal with what you said in the email?" They say, and the way they say it to you is totally different because it diffuses the situation. It's like, well, I wasn't trying to disrespect you. I was just trying to say this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, when you read it on the screen, when you read it in a message like that, compared to hearing somebody say it like you say, the connotation is different. And you can read it as hate, or you can read it as not being hate, depending on how it comes out when the person actually says it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's what happened. They say Twitter fingers. You know what I'm saying? Twitter fingers are easy. I guess are easy instigators of hate because you can say it, like you say, you can say it, without any kind of recourse You know what I'm saying? Other than maybe getting blocked by the person, you know? So you can say it and it could be out there and nobody can really do anything about it unless they personally know you and know where you live. You know what I'm saying? And run up on you. So social media hate can be big and wild. And, you know, there's ways to deal with those type of haters. You know, there's other kind of haters out there. And so if you think about it, there's like the angry hater, you know, somebody who always has something to say about you. They never hide their dislike for you. It's clear and obvious, you know. I mean, maybe this angry hater is jealous of you. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're always doing the right thing and they just can't stand it because they can't get over whatever hump in their life. So they're always mad at you. So there's like the angry hater, right? There's the silent hater, which, you know, the silent hater might be, you know, one of the worst of all because, you know, this person knows everything about you, but you may never know it. You know what I'm saying? They may be like a stalker. They may be sort of sneaky. They may just sort of sit in the side and sort of look at you out of the corner of their eye and listen to you and whatever you're doing, you know? And they sort of like hate on the low. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. There's like know-it-all haters, you know, because, and basically what a know-it-all hater does, you know, they're sort of irritating because they don't really got much going on for themselves. So they just like sit around and talk about other people and act like they know everything. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they'll just argue with you just because they want to argue with you. Even if it's a small, petty, you know, situation, they'll argue with you just because they know it all, you know, and they want to, you know, they want to act like they know more than you and sort of one up you, which gets you to like the person that's similar to that, you know, somebody who one ups anybody. So a hater like that. So somebody who waits for you to make your move so they can one up you. They love competing with you. Even if you didn't know they were competing against you, their satisfaction is always derived from beating you. So somebody who always wants to compete with you is a certain type of hater. You know, I think it's sort of like a know-it-all too, because they're like, oh, I can do this better. And then there's also, oddly enough, the best friend hater. So you know that term, keep your enemies close, you know, or keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Well, the best friend hater is sort of like that because they know everything about you, you know. They sort of put on the face that they're your friend in public. You know what I'm saying? But behind, you know, they're jealous. They bash you. You know, they talk all kinds of smack. But, you know, in your face, you know, you hang out. They talk with you. You blah, blah, blah. When they see you're doing good, though, secretly, they're not a fan. But they may say they're a fan. They're just not a fan.
Yeah, I've occurred people like that in the past.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Were they friends? Were they family members?
Friends are what I thought were friends.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, I found out what you're really about. So, you know, nowadays I just take my whole, friends thing and I really don't even, they're more associates than friends now anyway. So yeah, my day ones are still with me to this day. Those people that have been with me since we were both like little kids, grade school, you know, even high school. Yeah. After high school, like I've probably made maybe 3 to 4 good friends, you know, just from college that I would consider friends. Everybody else is just an associate, you know. Yeah.
That's wild, man.
So. Yeah, I take my friendship stuff pretty seriously. So I choose wisely.
Yeah. I mean, as you should. You know what I'm saying? You could definitely keep those haters within a certain circle. You know what I'm saying? That are friend haters that, you know, are the close to home, close to the vest haters. Like they know stuff about you and they act like they're friends, but you know the real deal. You know what I'm saying? So you know whether you should either delete them from your life or just keep them at, a couple arm's length, so you know what they're about, and you try not to include them in things, when stuff is going well for you, or vice versa. So, it's wild, man, because, haters have all this like stuff mentally built up against, the person or the thing that they're hating, or their creation. They have all this stuff built up, but if you try to tell them, something positive about the thing that they don't like, they have a hard time, like, actually accepting that positive information. Let's see here. Like, I guess it's sort of like something that, they're unable to change their beliefs, when new evidence is given to them that something's positive, so like you can't really change their mind if they get to the point where they're hating. You know what I'm saying? If you look at that situation with the people I talked about earlier, the guy who has like the nice house, but he still drives a Ford Taurus, you know what I'm saying? Well, guess what? He drove that Ford Taurus for so many years so he could save up money to be able to buy that nice house. So just because he has a nice house doesn't mean, that he has to have a nice car and all this other stuff. He saved his money in this spot so he can achieve this goal, which is a positive thing. You save your money, you do well, and then you can able to afford, something different, which is a positive thing. And the hater's like, nah, who cares? He still drives a Taurus. So something's not matching up here. You know what I'm saying? Why not just go ahead and take that information like, oh, okay, I get it. It makes sense. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a lot of haters like that. I'll tell you what, man, in work situations, I don't know for sure if this is what it is, but I have a coworker, this person started at the job I work at before I did. I can't remember, maybe almost a year or so, several months before I did. We started, and when I started, we were both in the same position. Then we got, then I got a promotion, to another position that was a 2-person position. I got the promotion first, a couple months before this other person did. Then they got the promotion. We're both sort of, interviewed at the same time for the promotion. But I just happened to, land the spot first. And then this other person, got that same bump like a month or two later. Right. So, it's not like they were missing much time there, going from one job to the next. Then, we both got promoted out of there to different positions, or positions in different departments. The position that person was wanting, they had been after for a while. So I think the one that we had before that, like our second position, sort of a stepping stone for them to get that. My position was in the same department. It was still in sales, but it was, it was just a much, a better job with more responsibilities, blah, blah, blah. So I thought then. So, but I think in the process of me getting that initial promotion over that person, even though it really wasn't over them because they got the same promotion within a month or so, like I said, I think before that we had a pretty good, rapport. We didn't have any issues. And even while in that job, it didn't seem like we had many issues. But I think that's one of those things where that person was like, really? He's going to get the job before me. I've been here longer. I know more about this stuff than he does, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
How's he going to get that first? You know what I'm saying? So that person started to not communicate with me as much, even though we sat like within feet of each other initially, and I don't know. I don't know what it is, man. And never had any issue with them, socially, and outside of work seemed like an all right person, but, but then when they moved to their current job, They just seemed like they were just too good to talk to anybody. Let's say it like that. So, yeah, man. And I don't know if that's specifically hate. I don't know if that person just, was in their own world, and doesn't really have anything to do with my job anymore. I don't know what it is. But it seems like anytime I talk to that person, they're short, to the point, just say this and done, doesn't try to actually carry on a conversation like we have done in the past. So I don't know, people, what kind of haters do you guys have in your life? What kind of haters do you guys have in life? Family can be haters, family can be haters definitely. As well. Family can diss your accomplishments and your creativity.
Yep. That's pretty much right. You could go to a family reunion, you could hear all the craziness going on in the background. You could be hearing two aunts talk about somebody else. Yeah. I've been there, done that. I've heard it in church.
Man, yeah. Same. It's wild, man.
It's everywhere. The places you think that type of hate shouldn't exist, hey, man, it's running rampant. So, yeah. Let us know what's going on, man. Yeah. What type of hate y'all get? What type of hate do you give? Let's call it that.
Yeah. And then, like what a man said, motherfuckers is always talking about what they would do if something happened, but they never do anything. They're the first one to talk, about you if you fail, to try to do something that you're trying to do. Yep. So, but then, if you succeed, then they'll diminish everything that you do. But yeah, man, it's one of those things, saying, like, if this happens, then I'm going to do that. But then when it actually goes down, they shy away and get alligator arms and don't catch the ball. You know what I'm saying? It's always somebody like that. Always those kinds of haters out there. But yeah, do we need hate in our life? Do we need haters? Is that fuel for the fire?
Some people say it is, man. Some people say that they love haters. It just shows them that they're doing something right.
Yeah.
So maybe we do need a little hate. I don't know.
I mean, I think, I don't like haters at all, but I do think that it helps fuel the fire because, it's something that I saw the other day. I can't remember whose post it was, but it was a repost from Meryl Streep, right? Meryl Streep went and she had taken a picture on the subway in New York after she had an audition for the movie King Kong. And she walked out of the audition, or she finished the audition, and the producer or director, whoever it was that was auditioning her, said, "You know what? That was a good audition, but you're too ugly for the role. Sorry." So, and this is when she was young. She was in her 20s, right? She was still young. So, or maybe early 30s. I can't remember. But she was like, she could have just taken that and walked and said, "Wow, okay, thanks for the brutal honesty," and just bounced. Or, she could have flipped it on its head and done something different. So what she said she did in audition, she was like, "Hey, your opinion is one in the sea of billions of opinions. So yeah, thanks for your opinion. I appreciate that. But it's not going to stop me from accomplishing my dream." So now she's multiple Oscar award winners later. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many she has now, 10 plus, something like that. But now, you look at her and her accomplishments, and she could have taken that hate. She could have taken that negativity that was given to her and let it detract her and derail her and, get her down and depressed. Mm-hmm. But what she did was she took it and used it as fuel to accomplish. It's funny, man, that I think about that because I remember back in high school, I was in a theater class and there was a substitute that came in to my theater class and, was basically doing attendance or whatever. And when she got to my name, she's like, "Hooker, like, you want to be an actor?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to do a little bit of acting." She's like, "Man, what director will ever hire you for anything with that name?" Wow. And I was like, "Oh, really?" So I remembered that. I always remembered that. And that was one of the things that fueled me. I have to say that. That's one of the things that fueled me because I heard it say, I was like, it's like, this a grown ass person saying that? So, I remember that person saying that, and I remember going, and I mean, within like a month of that, I had an audition audition for a play that I got, and I had auditioned for something else that I got. Went to college, had several auditions for shows or musicals or TV things or commercials or voiceover work, etc. that I got. And my motivation, in a lot of those cases that I got that work was, oh yeah, I remember that lady said I wouldn't make it. I mean, it's still a grind. I'm still working on it, but I can say that I got paid to do what I love to do, for a long time now. And, looking back at that person, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember what you said. I wonder if you're still substitute teaching, so,
right.
So, you can let that negativity, you can let that negativity to, destroy your dreams, or you can take it and run with it. I was fortunate that my dad was all about positivity, and you being confident in yourself. He said, he'd always say something like, you got to be confident in yourself, regardless of what anybody else thinks of you. You have to know that you can do it because you're you. You're the only one that believes yourself. You have to have that positivity and that confidence in yourself. Otherwise, you'll never be able to achieve X, Y, Z.
Right.
And, I know it's not going to work every single time, but, the more confidence and faith you have in yourself, and energy you put behind that, the better off you're going to be overall. So, yeah. So thank him for that. Yeah. So, hey, so how about this? I ran up on this page by, what's this guy's name? James Altucher. I ran up on this page by him. He's an author. But he writes a lot of self-help, like choose yourself style books. You know what I'm saying? And ebooks, audiobooks. So he, on his website, has the ultimate cheat sheet for dealing with haters. And he talks a lot about online haters, social media haters, family, friend, colleague haters, work style haters as well. He says he's lost a lot of friendships and even, family members because of something that he said or did. And it's really all because of them hating on him.
Right.
So, he gives us sort of like a cheat sheet of like how to deal with haters. So, I mean, I'll run down them right quick and then we can just talk about them. So number one, it's about them. So, it's about them being angry. And angry is, being angry is sort of fearing something, is fearing they're not as good as you. But then the next one, number two, he says it's really all about you. Haters push buttons just to get under your skin. And they may not like exactly what you're doing, or they may like what you're doing and want to be like you. So they make it about you, and they always hate you. And they always try to detract from something that's minor, something that's petty. So there's a 24-hour rule, right? So 24 hours. So, this happens a lot when it's social media, when somebody attacks you or attacks your relationship or whatever. If you don't respond within 24 hours, normally that sort of diffuses a little bit. But if you do respond within 24 hours, the cycle just continues. If you respond even once, cycle just continues until, somebody is done with it. So somebody gives you a negative comment, just try to let it go a little bit. And don't say anything for that first 24 hours and see what happens. The 30-30-30 rule. So someone will love you 1/3 of the time. Someone will hate you 1/3 of the time. Someone will not care 1/3 of the time. So number 5, he said, is delete. He says, you can quote unquote delete somebody from your life. So this is a situation sort of like you talked about. You found out people who were being fake or being fake friends, and you don't interact with them anymore. Yep. Took them out of your life, deleted them from your life. you know. Not in all cases, you can't delete somebody out your life. It's like a family member or something like that, that you're around a lot, you know, but you can, get out of the situation in certain ways. You can, take time for yourself. He says to put everyone, gets their time in the timeout box, if that makes any sense. And, you get to decide if you want them to come out of timeout or stay in timeout forever, if they misbehave. So, yeah, delete the person, delete the situation from your life. Now, he said in number 6, he says, hate is contagious. When somebody makes a comment, other people sort of feed off that comment. And it can sort of spiral out of control. People do that. People say things like that. You got to figure out if it's worth wasting your time trying to diffuse all these comments and situations or not. So is it worth your time to sit there and respond to all these people who are responding to the same guy who said the first, mean thing?
Right.
Or is it worth your time to just say, screw these people? I'm good. So can you go down to number 7 and read from there?
Number 7. You'll never know. So let me see. It just says you'll never know. I could have. Well, I guess he's going into a story about something. He says one of the deathbed moments. People have said, "I am really glad I found out why that random stranger called me human garbage on their deathbed exactly 0 times in the history of the universe. There's no need to know, and even if you do finally know, it will always turn out there was no good reason." Yeah. So
the one that I was talking about before, the hate is contagious, he said somebody tweeted that he equaled the hashtag human garbage. And he didn't know why the guy tweeted that. He said he got angry for a second, and he didn't follow any of the comments that sort of went with it. But he said he looked him up, found out he worked at AOL, tried to figure out how to get him fired. He made his one tweet give him thousands of thoughts. And it's sort of like that thing in the back of your head. And so you never know why it happened. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people say, I want to know why you called me this. But then he calls it a deathbed moment because he's like, nobody on their deathbed, is like, I'm so happy I found out why that guy said that to me. They're thinking about other things. So I guess in this, he's just trying to say, is there really a good reason to find out why people hate you? Or, are you trying to waste your time on that? Or are you trying to go on in life and not worry about that? When will you let it go? What helps you let it go? I think that's it. So,
yeah. Interesting. Sometimes it might be good to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Especially
depending on the situation. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a friend or something you've been good with for years upon years, and then all of a sudden things just kind of flip and they start being negative towards you. Sometimes it's good to figure out what the heck is going on. I think we probably mentioned it earlier in the show about possibly having that one friend who went on to like create a business or something, and the other one's just stuck working at a restaurant.
Yeah,
maybe there's some type of issues that they both need to work out, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
Could be good to know. Number 8, resistance is futile. Yeah. Damn, this is a long one. Let's say someone actually does have a reason for you hating, and it's easy to refute. So, yeah, like they hate you because you're from Rhode Island. That's weird. But actually, you're from Canada. You can say, but I'm from Canada, and they will say, that's even worse. So, yeah. Yeah, sometimes it is. It's not really great to be, I guess, combative and respond with something they're saying. So because it could be back and forth, or it could even just get worse. So yeah,
it's crazy. It's like it says that change is hard. Quitting things is hard. Like quitting addictions or habits are hard. So hating is, an addictive habit. So imagine how hard it is to change somebody's mind, even with facts. You know what I'm saying? Even with facts, it doesn't make any sense. You look at these people who, voted for the current president, and you look back years ago, and we've referenced this before, but the interview he had, and he said, if I ever run, I'd run as a Republican because I could tell them exactly what they want to hear because they're stupid enough. They're stupid enough to vote for you if all you have to do is tell them what they want to hear. They're dumb. They'll vote for me. I'll win. What did he do? He ran as a Republican. He told people what they wanted to hear instead of actually what he was actually going to do. And he made it about, pandering to people, and they voted for him. He won. And so if you try to bring this up to somebody who voted for him, and say, hey, here's the proof of it. You can see the video right here. You can see the article right here. Like, nah, I don't believe that. That's stupid. That's stupid. I won't believe you. But I have facts. I have facts of this person calling you an idiot, calling you stupid. I don't care. Okay. All right. Facts, you can't really dispute the truth, but, if you say so, whatever. So, yeah, it's sort of ridiculous when you have people who can't wrap their head around truth and fact. So, get rid of those haters. What's up next? Number 9?
Number 9, they look stupid having sex. Interesting. That's all you ever really need to know about your haters. They all grunt and drool and look stupid. If all you do is think about this rule about someone who hates you, then you can ignore all of the other rules. All right.
Yeah, you just, just picture them in, a vulnerable situation looking stupid, I guess, right? They look stupid having sex, I don't know, whatever it is, just picture that in their mind and try to get the hate that they portray out of yours.
Yeah. Next up, number 10, time heals all wounds. I like this one, and I hadn't even read the summary of it yet, but hate can't last forever. Often it turns into a dull simmer. Sun that was so bright at noon becomes a haze of purples and deep orange by twilight. Yeah. So this doesn't mean that you and the hater are now friends. It just means that wound that was open will eventually close up and leave a tiny little scar, reminder, but nothing more. Whether it was betrayal, an ex-partner, an ex-lover, a commenter on a blog, the key is to practice shortening the time. So, time heals all wounds. I think that's that could be put to practice in a lot of different things besides just hate. So, yeah, time does heal all wounds. Sometimes just let it go.
Yeah.
Try your best to let it go. And let time work its magic.
Yeah, you know what, man? I'm gonna reference this just because I think it's one of the more recent ones. But I know there's tons of others that you can reference and talk about. But hip hop beefs, right? There's always hip hop beefs, and in some occasions, you see these people performing together or interacting with each other that wasn't in the same way that they were when they were beefing. Take this case in point. A couple years back, you had the Drake versus Meek Mill situation, and they were going back and forth. Just dropping songs back and forth against each other. And then at some point in time, was it in like 2018 or maybe early 2019 or, a couple months ago in 2019, you saw Drake and Meek Mill performing on stage together. Yeah, made songs together, and the beef is over. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it's time. Maybe it's, they both grown a little bit, and maybe they're like, hey, we're two brothers, trying to further our career. And this beef, while it was sort of fun while it lasted, it really didn't produce much after the fact. Everybody's sort of over it now. So why do we continue to let this be the narrative when they talk about us, when we could both be badass performers, make a lot of money with each other, make a lot of money making music with each other and get over this. And guess what? All your fans will be my fans. All my fans will be your fans now if we can do this. And bam, there you go. That's what they did. So I don't know. What's another? Do you know of any other rap beefs or beefs like that may have ended?
I mean, I think Nas and Jay-Z are cool right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Who else? At one point, like long ago, I know there was like, I don't know if it was like full on beef, but Yellow Wolf and Machine Gun Kelly had like, I guess, some words for each other, and now Machine Gun Kelly and Yellow Wolf have a song together on Yellow Wolf's last album.
Is that right?
So yeah, so I mean, it's it's a lot, man. I mean, a lot of these guys, especially in hip hop, some of them come in here into this business young with their own mentality, and then they just somewhat grow up. Yeah. A lot of them just stay the same. They still stay kids in the mind, and that's when sometimes things get ugly. But yeah, a lot of times people just grow. They just grow, and I'm sure there's like a lot of other things and beefs and hip hop beefs that we didn't mention. But yeah, it's one of those things, man. They grew up.
Hold on a second. Let me make sure I'm asking the right question. Let's see here. Hold on. So Ice Cube wrote his song No Vaseline, right? Right. About NWA. It was basically like a diss back at NWA. So do you know if that has ended? Is that still going?
No, man, that's done because Ice Cube and Dr. Dre worked together on God, what was that song? I see the video in my head, but I can't think of the song. But they did stuff together. So I mean, I think it was just it's all that was done. So
yeah, well, it's one of those things. You can make a couple of different choices. You can decide whether to end your beefs, end the hatred between you and somebody else. Maybe you're the hater.
No, 50 Cent, Ja Rule and 50 Cent,
still
that's
going.
A completely different. Yeah, because it's weird because Ja Rule says he's like completely over it, but 50 keeps being the childish one. Yeah. And keeps rehashing the beef with other things. So it's that's kind of, it's funny, but in the same times it's like real childish, on 50's part. So
yeah,
I don't know.
And also another thing, never try to borrow money from 50 Cent, because he will out you if you're even a second late or a penny short. He will out you on it. So that's funny. Yeah, man, there's always beefs that are still out there, that haven't gotten squashed yet for some reason. And then there's always tons of them. It sounds like, that have been squashed and have gone. So yeah, man, it's one of those things. Like, you can make the decision whether to, end the hatred between you and an individual, and just be a man or woman about it. Or you can choose to let it continue to go on and on and on. Like Lil Kim and Foxy Brown. Lil Kim, like what a man podcast said. Lil Kim's Filipino looking so. You can choose to let that beef just continue, or you can squash it, man. You can squash it. I don't know. So anyway, yeah. What do you people think out there? What do you think about the beefs? Do you think Lil Wayne and Birdman are actually truly done with their beef, or do you think it's going to continue to go? Do you think that you could ever get past the hate that somebody has portrayed upon you, or vice versa, you portrayed upon somebody, for you guys to squash it? Or Do you think that it's a hatred that has to go on and never end? We want to know. And yeah, so leave us comments, send us a voicemail. And next week, the next episode, we're going to have an episode about supporters, congratulators, lovers. You know what I'm saying? People who are not haters, people who are congratulators. So we can have the yin to this yang, if that makes any sense. So anyway, so yeah, let's go ahead and cue the music, because, we love George Michael. We don't hate him. We love George Michael's Careless Whisper. And, it's time to tap that love box. All this hate that we talked about, let's tap this love box right now.
You let hate just roll over your shoulder and you pay it no mind. Tap your love box.
If you get fueled by the haters, tap your love box.
If you are the one constantly hating, tap your love box. Because you're honest with yourself, J. Del Negro.
Yeah, just in time. Yeah. If you love flexing on them haters, though, that's it's funny now because the kids will say that. You love flexing on them haters, tap your love box. You pull up in your clean car, step out with your nice clothes on, while the haters just sit over there side-eyeing you. Man. Flex on them hoes.
Speaking of cars, if you've ever had your car attempted stolen because of haters, tap your love box.
That happened to you?
Yeah, I got word that somebody was planning on like jacking my car back when I was like 18, 19 years old. Because they just couldn't see a young player play.
Yeah.
They couldn't see. They couldn't handle it. So yeah, but I mean,
players
I know
gonna play, haters gonna hate.
Yep. I know who it was. I knew who it was. So luckily nothing happened. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Anywho.
If you think haters are like fertilizer that are full of shit but help you grow, tap your love box.
That's a good way to point it out. Yeah. If you actually honestly have no more words for haters, tap your love box, because I don't have no more words for them.
This is it. Me personally, I'm happy when I hear about my haters. You know what I'm saying? Because that fuels me. You know what I'm saying? And when it's somebody that I know, somebody that's close to me, it's shocking. It's surprising. That people are throwing shade or hating. That specific person is. But then again, I'm glad I know now, because I know how to interact with you now. You know what I'm saying? I know how to interact with you, and I know, what I do and don't want to say to you or talk to you about, etc., etc. Yeah, so happy to hear that. I mean, it's funny. It's funny just hearing those things, and then you're like, okay, I know how I can push your buttons now, because I know you don't like me. Now that I know that, I know what I could do to get you to shut up. So, yeah, I think it's funny. So have you seen this thing just recently? Lil Nas X is canceled. You seen that hashtag?
What do you mean? No.
There's some hashtag. Let's see, hashtag Lil Nas X is canceled, or is over. Let's see here. So I saw this yesterday, and for some reason, people, I guess Twitter was trying to cancel. Oh yeah, Lil Nas X is over party. That's what it's called. So Twitter was trying to cancel Lil Nas X over some tweets from somebody from his other account from like a couple years ago, where I guess he had some anti-Islamic and anti-Muslim tweets. And people think it was Lil Nas X, right? But I guess it wasn't his account. It was somebody else. It was somebody else called Nas Maraj, and he sort of looks like Lil Nas X, but it's not. So, yeah, so people were trying to cancel him. I mean, this kid is already getting hate because he did a country rap song. You know what I'm saying? A countrified rap song. And then he got Billy Ray Cyrus to come and co-sign and make a little bit longer version of it, which actually was a pretty good version. But you know, rappers still don't like him because, you know, because they think that he didn't really do anything to get put on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, so now people are trying to hate this guy, and because they're linking him to some other account called Nas Maraj, NASMARAJ. It's a Twitter account who had some anti-Islamic and Muslim tweets, but it's like a girl's account from a long time ago. So it's interesting that people are trying to do that, and it's funny because, you know, there's already some hatred out there toward this guy, and so this is sort of trying to fuel all those hateful comments, even though it doesn't have anything to do with him. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's some silly stuff out here. So I just say this, people. If you're a hater, you know, thank you for identifying yourself. Sometimes hatred is okay. Sometimes being a hater is fine. You know what I'm saying? It is. Mm-hmm. And
sometimes they don't even know they're a hater.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even know you're a hater. So be honest with yourself.
Recognize.
Be honest with you. If you are someone who goes out of their way to talk bad about somebody, talk bad about somebody's creativity, tries to plant seeds to try to assassinate other people's character, you know, if you prejudge people, if you're Clarence Thomas,
you always got something to say.
You know,
always got, not necessarily for the positive, but always got some little sly comment to say.
If you're like Steven from
check
Django,
yourself.
If you're a cowboy fan, you know, if you're somebody who's always trying to diss somebody else's creation, you know, diss somebody else's success, you know, dog somebody for doing something that's, you know, that's totally above board and honest and should never normally have any issues, then you might be a hater.
Might be.
You might be a hater if you look at somebody's Instagram profile pictures with the side eye. You know what I'm saying? You might be a hater.
That's right. Might be.
Might be a hater. So, okay. On that note, tap your love box if you're a hater and let us know the hate you give. All right. Let's go ahead and tell the people where they can find us.
All right, people. You could hate on us at #BlackoutPod on Twitter and Instagram, or you can love us there. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, Anchor, Spreaker, YouTube. Check us out there. #BlackoutPod@gmail.com is where you can send us stuff. Send us your stories of hatred, or you could tell us in the voicemail. 3853-BLAKPC or 385325-2572. Check out the links in our description for hooks, rubs, and spices and bossboxes.store. Grab yourself something from either one of those. Yeah. And there you have it. We hate you.
Have it. Hating on all the trolls out there. Hating on all the trolls. But if you're a troll, tell us about it. Tell us why. We want to know. So we can look at you with the disdain and loathing that you deserve. Man, I'm blacking out.
Dang. I gotta go take a dong saya day. Alright. I forgot what episode that was on, people, but if you go back in the list, you can see we collaborated with the Horror Club. And yeah, we learned some new language, some new Korean jargon to use, and you'll figure out what that means. Mm-hmm. Blacking out. We're about to go to the movies. Go see Dark Phoenix. Peace. Don't go see Dark. Go see Dark Phoenix if you want to, but go see Shaft. Shaft was dope. Shaft was pretty dope. I'm still recording because I feel like talking some more about Shaft.
Talk about it.
It was pretty funny, man. We got in there, And of course, my wife is mixed race, and we walk in, and I start looking around. And I'm like, there's a whole bunch of black people in here. And I started laughing to myself, and I didn't want to tell her.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "What movie did we go see?" Because we were deciding on quite a few, and then she looked around. She's like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
Oh man, I was dying laughing because of just that atmosphere. Oh man. And then of course, us black folks in theaters, we can't keep quiet, especially if it's an all black theater. There's people talking to the screen, people using they cell phone during the movie, people using a flashlight on their cell phone during the movie. I'm like, Lord, man, can we like kill all the stereotypes? Is this really us? But it's really us. I wasn't hating. I didn't hate. I watched my movie and enjoyed it. We both enjoyed it. We laughed. Yeah, everybody laughed. All right, that's it. I'm out, people.
Yeah, nah, that is definitely, some brothers and sisters in a movie theater. You know what I'm saying? Especially like you said, a black movie. Shoot, dog. That's the way it is. It's funny, when I went to go see Black Panther, there was some other black people in the movie, and you could tell when certain situations arose. You can tell who the people were talking a little bit louder than other people.
Mm-hmm.
It was us, but that's okay. That's what makes us us.
Yes,
that's what makes us us.
We loud. So does that make us the ultimate hater? Because we always got something to say?
No. I mean, we're not always hating in that situation, though.
But we're not always hating, but we always got something to say. We may not
always
think
got
it's
something
hating.
to say.
We always got something we may not think is hating, but it could be, could come off sometimes as hatred when we're talking about certain things.
Yeah. No, we're not the ultimate haters. We're not the ultimate haters. We're not the ultimate haters.
Not all of us.
I don't believe that.
But never mind. Yeah, never mind.
All right, next week we talk about the lovers.
All right, we out.
I hate you. I don't even know you, and I hate your guts. I hope all the bad things in life happen to you and nobody else but you.